The air I breathe. The air that I breathe. The air that I breathe is no longer safe.
Make me fall sick.
Make me asthma.
With help from local authorities.
The air that I breathe is changing our planet.
The air that I breathe needs some serious cleaning.
The air that I breathe is not what I want my future kids to breathe.
Udara yang saya hirup buat saya sakit.
The air that I breathe kills million in a year.
Saya mahu udara yang bersih.
The air that I breathe is the same air that you breathe. So what are we waiting for? Ever thought about the air that you are breathing? Spoiler alert, it's not just oxygen. Thanks to fossil fuels, our air is like a toxic cocktail. Burning coal and oil dump pollutants like nitrogen oxides and fine particles right into our lungs. These particles are like bad house gas. They move in, mess everything up, and never leave. You name it, asthma, lung infection, and even cancer are all on the table. Kids and elderly, they are all breathing the same toxic air.
Fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas have powered our modern world for over a century. They fuel our cars, heat our homes, and generate electricity. However, the combustion of these fuels releases a host of harmful pollutants into the atmosphere. Among the most concerning pollutants are particulate matter, nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, and volatile organic compounds. These tiny particles and gases can penetrate deep into our lungs, causing a range of respiratory problems.
There is so much smoke from this car. Do you know the use of fossil fuel began mainly during the Industrial Revolution, but currently the use of fossil fuel are a main of concern. But why fossil fuels are a big environmental problem? Fossil fuels, which are coal, oil, and gas, they create carbon-rich deposits. They are extracted and burned from energy. They are non-renewable and currently supply around 80% of the world's energy.
Based on our WhatsApp interview session with Dr. Azah, lecturer of discipline Oil and Gas Engineering UiTM Shah Alam, she stated that fuel petroleum extraction is a billion-dollar business involving multiple stages and normally run for over 10 years for each project. After the exploration, such as data analysis and the development stage, proposed oil reservoir will be drilled, and after the well is established, the oil and gas then will only be extracted from rock or well. She also stated that as the non-sustainability of petroleum, it is something that many researchers are working on to replace it with a sustainable one. With technological advancement, it can only be reduced but not replaced. Dr. Azah added, environmental concern will be the release of petroleum products, especially oil, into the water bodies. It also disturbs the aquatic life living at the oil field location. The usage of petroleum itself in vehicles has been known to cause greenhouse gas effects. In the near coming years, petroleum still will be the main fuel source worldwide. However, we can see other sources such as solar, water, and increasing in application and can be one of the players, but not fully replacing the fossil fuel. We can sustainable energy such as wind, solar, fuel cell that we can regenerate them and not depriving the Mother Earth by using it. It's a good thing if we can eliminate the environmental concern from fossil fuel in order to rescue our dying Earth.
Speaking to Dr. Ryan, we gain an insight of the harmful effects of air pollution.
Things which are exposed when fossil fuel is burned, particulate matters, so matters which are floating in the air. All right. So they have certain sizes. Usually measured in microns. So larger particles doesn't penetrate. It stops within the nostrils. Beyond smaller than that, enters inside. Once it enters inside, there is a mucus which protects or blocks it, and tries to collect, and that causes blockage along your airway. Carbon monoxide fights with our body's hemoglobin. It gets bound very easily. And hemoglobin is basically for binding your oxygen. So what happens? If taken up by carbon monoxide, there's hardly anything left over for oxygen. When you don't have enough oxygen, what happens to your body function? Everything depends on oxygen. Your brain needs oxygen. Your liver needs oxygen. Your kidney needs oxygen. These are all what? Organs without which you cannot live. La? So the vital organs don't receive oxygen. What happens? Seriously, they get damaged. When they get damaged, your vital organs, how can you live? Your life expectancy comes down. There have been studies where I would say the industrialized country which is relying heavily on low cost fuel to sustain the industries. So a lot of them are exposed to very poor air quality. There has been a forensic pathologist who has been interested in this sort of problems, who has been doing autopsies, and he said sees the lungs of the people at different ages, child's lungs, middle age, and old age. What you expect to find in a person who was a smoker for 60, 70 years is now seen in a person who's 20 years old. The lungs are that bad. Exposure to these sort of pollutants. So those are clinical evidences of it. So that the way our usage of pollutants or the way we handle the excretion of pollutants is not correct. For example, now let's say you have diabetes. Okay, so diabetes is very common. Okay, you have type 1 and type 2. That means very young children also can have. That means they're born young and they have insulin. Type 2 is acquired later, you don't need, but still it's diabetes. So diabetes is a disease which affects the blood vessels. So every organ is affected. On one hand, you are having something reducing the oxygen intake. On the other hand, you have something which is reducing the oxygen supply.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has found that emissions from fossil fuels are the dominant cause of global warming. In 2018, 89% of global CO2 emissions came from fossil fuels and industry. That's such a huge number, and it's bad news for us. So, what can we do to curb this?
Okay, things which can be done reasonably with low cost is reforestation, proper maintenance of the greenery in residential areas. Another thing is actually like the big industry players, like those who are in petrochemical industry. I would suggest that they have the money to invest in newer forms of energy. So look for newer forms and let them invest, let them do research, let them spearhead the cleaning up of the world. Because right now, they are the ones who are creating the rubbish for us.
Fossil fuel pollution is more than just an environmental issue. It is a serious health threat to our respiratory system. We must shift towards cleaner energy sources and reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. Every little bit helps, from using public transports to supporting cleaner energy initiatives. Remember, it is not just the planet, but it's our lungs. Breathe easy, stay healthy, and let's keep our planet clean.